All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to another Roofball Federation of America podcast. This is the official one. Don't get confused by the unofficial podcast, although some of them have great content, I would imagine, in this dream world that I'm making up right now.
Right, yes.
All right. So happy Valentine's Day. And today we have a very, very special Valentine's with the Verkest episode. You'll get to meet three Verkests who have all played in multiple Roofball tournaments. There's actually a fourth Verkest that has also played. But you don't get to meet her in this particular instance. And I think she's probably fine with that. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I just like the fact that we were able to pull off a V for Valentine's Day.
Yes. Well, it reminds me of that one tournament we had was V from Vendetta. Such needless violence. But other than that, it was a lot of fun. All right, so
We never should have had one during the purge.
Exactly. So each each of these individuals, Mike, Christian, and Kaileb, have unique stories and history in the world of roofball. Some of it is very focused on the playing. Other aspects are Kaileb has helped in technical aspects while playing and while not playing.
Yep.
Christian has done a lot of stuff outside of it. He's maybe traveled, if you add up all miles and stuff, maybe more than anybody else to play. And then Mike has done a few things as well, including on the ground. He's cooked for me during tournaments. He's cooked for everybody during tournaments, not just me.
Yeah.
But a lot of different things, and always been a huge supporter of Roofball since his kind of initial thing. And Adam, I'll let you touch on some other stuff that he's helped Roofball out with, or partnered with, maybe I should say. Yeah.
Yeah, and first and foremost, these are early adopters. You know, Mike was part of the wave, the same wave that you came in on, Derek, the 2008, as we were putting stuff onto public access. That's where Mike found us. And yeah, he went from, obviously he brought all three of his kids, and then my Christian and Kaileb have played many, many tournaments. Christian, one of our great champions, he's won 5 titles. He's tied for 5th all time in that number. And then Mike was one of our first sponsors. Fire Dog Productions is Mike's, and he sponsored a couple of our tournaments. And especially in the earliest days of 2023, we needed every dollar we get a hold of, because we were making it happen with our own money, which is, understandable, but also, especially we have wives, we have families, they don't want to be paying for it. So it's nice that when someone can come in, underwrite a little bit. So, we think of them as one of the royal families of Roofball for sure. And they've done more for the sport than probably any family not named Willis, I would say.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. And great dudes and dudettes as well in the family. Yeah, so you mentioned, I mean, Christian, 5-time champion. Kaileb has had an interesting history with Roofball, but a lot of success recently, and a lot of like really fun, super fun success that we'll talk about in the episode. The interesting thing is, so Mike and Kaileb total combined 30 tournaments they played. Christian 31. So you can see who's really dedicated to the playing aspect of things. Not to say that Kaileb and Mike aren't, but Christian, it's one of those competitive juices.
It's in Christian's soul in a way that it's in few others, for sure.
Yeah, very much so. All right. Well, before we dive in there, anything else you wanted to touch on? Any other Roofball news we need to go over?
No big new news this week. Things are still developing in terms of regional tournaments, putting that schedule together. The RFA Cup's officially solidified for Ohio on June 30th, but we were dialed in on that. And yeah, just getting individual dates together as we go.
Yeah. So since we're talking about that, again, another call. If you would like to host a tournament, if you know somebody who would like to host a tournament, or you just think, hey, here in Denver, we would really like to have one, but I don't know any roof, let us know. We can put some feelers out. But yeah, we're looking to put as many tournaments on the calendar as we can, and to help out in pretty much any way that we can to do so. So just connect with us. You can drop us a message on this podcast, or just shoot us an email at rfaroofball@gmail.com, or just go to roofball.org, fill out the contact form right on the bottom of that first page, which I just updated the image, Adam, on that page. I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay,
He's doing it right now. And yeah, I mean, and anything else, any questions you have about Roofball, any thoughts and ideas you have, please contact us. We, one, obviously love to talk about it, but two, really want to continue growing the sport as much as we can. As Adam said, lots and lots of stuff in the works, some stuff that we're not talking about yet, some big news that we've already announced, and hopefully we'll have more as the year goes by. All right, without further ado, here are the Verkests. All right. Today we have the second family of Roofball, I think. A little Valentine Day with the Verkest family. We have Mike, Caleb, and Christian with us. Thank you all for joining. How are you doing?
Good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Super excited to be here.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, before we dive into questions, since there's three of you, this is our biggest podcast I think we've ever had, Adam.
Yep.
Let me just run down some stats. So we all know what you've all done in the past when it comes to Roofball. So Mike, 5-time semifinalist, but there has been a gap since the last time you played, I think 2017.
Yeah, we can talk about that as we get going here for sure.
Okay. Great. And then Caleb, you got 4 trips to the second round, and then bam, second place finish in the most recent RFA Cup last year, wearing probably the best jersey that's ever been worn. In
It was pretty good.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
Pretty much goated.
Yeah, the goated jersey.
And Christian, you've played almost as much as your dad and brother combined. Almost. You played in 31 total tournaments. You are a 10-time semifinalist, 3 third-place finishes, and 4 second-place finishes, and a really nice 5 championships, which is tied for the 6th most all-time. And I'm going to throw in there a little stat here. Career average a little bit above a 38.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A 38 as my average throw? My average game?
Yep.
Yeah, we'll want you to drop that down to about 37 so we can make clerk references. But other than that, we're good.
They're not going to get that, bro. They're not going to get that reference.
Well, Mike, as long as you and I get that, I know Adam gets it.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to age yourself. It's okay.
Alrighty. All right. So here starts our discussion. I think it's like the 25th anniversary of Clerks. So what do you got? No.
30th.
Oh
So
my
we'll
God.
get into like your first appearances and Roofball and all that fun stuff, like how I got started here in a second. But right now, the Verkests are kind of spread out like halfway across the country here.
Yes, we are.
Could we just kind of go in order? Let's go oldest to youngest. Let's just do that. Set some ground rules here, and let's just say where you're at right now and what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'll start. So, I mean, I was born and raised pretty much I say I was born, I wasn't born in Oregon. But we moved there, like I was probably still, blue with an umbilical cord, but yeah, so pretty much born and raised in Oregon. But in the summer of 2022, I ended up retiring from the fire department and in sort of EMS and all the stuff I've been doing for about 28 years, and worked for a software company now in Austin, Texas. So I miss Oregon terribly. I would come back I love my job. It's awesome. And so if I could figure out a way to do it from home, which, might be in the works at some point, I will definitely be back in Oregon. So, but yeah, currently in Austin, and there are thunderstorms happening right now. So
Good.
Awesome. Well, go Ducks.
Go Ducks.
And Christian, what are you up to right now?
I'm living in Las Vegas. Blessing and a curse all at the same time. I also have a nice job, so I'm I won't be able to do it from home, but if I could, I would. So
Well, I'm still in the Portland area. On my job right now, I work for healthcare. I work in a healthcare industry, so outside of that, I mean, I'm the only one that's local to the Oregon area still.
And we're glad to be able to keep you around.
Yes.
So you guys, your history with Roofball goes back a decade and a half now, if you can believe that.
wow.
Mike, why don't you tell us how you discovered Roofball and what brought you to your first tournament?
Yeah. So I was, let's see, I was a training officer for an EMS organization, and had been working night shift for quite a while actually, and then ended up getting switched to days. Some point in there, I caught this thing on public access television. This thing, obviously is we're talking about Roofball, and I'm like, what in the hell is this thing? Like, this is super fascinating. It was, and I've watched the podcast before. I saw your last one with the guy that posted the Reddit video and got everything going again. And but there was a few things outside of just the action that was happening. It was the production value, and there were cameras, and there was live scoring, and there were guys talking about it and commentating. And I thought to myself, I mean, because I'm sort of an introvert. Like I don't like go out and seek stuff. I mean, it sounds probably weird for the people that know me, but I'm like, I think I could totally do that. And so I think I sent an email and it only took one, got an answer right back. And I just decided to show up. I'm trying to remember when it was. And I want to say, I mean, you probably have it there, but
Oh, seven.
2000
2008 US Open was your first
okay,
one.
I was gonna say seemed like we had just moved to Portland about 4 years prior to that. And I was a fairly I mean, I had been in sports my whole entire life. So my dad was my T-ball coach, played baseball pretty much all the way through high school, like never missed a thing. Got into football probably 7th grade and played a variety of positions. I was a tight end, mostly a defensive end. And then as I went through high school, I started playing tight end. And I do have a small claim to fame. I don't know if you recognize the name Chad Coda at all, who was a Ashland High School grad. Well, I had the pleasure of getting completely taken out by him at a game when I played for Eagle Point High School. And it was my second reception ever at Ashland, or at all, but we were happened to be playing Ashland. And he pretty much took my head off. And so that was my big thing. So and I only had another reception after that, and that was all I ever had. So, 33% of them I was tackled by Chad Coda. But anyway, but back to Roofball, I'm like, and so I hadn't really been doing much. I played a little grown up softball and stuff, and it was fine and it was good. But I don't know, there was something about this sport that seemed like, you know what, I could go pull it off. It looks pretty cool. And so I just sent the email and showed up.
All right. So Christian, how did your dad introduce you to the game?
I'm going to be honest. I do not remember, but I do remember going.
How was that possible? It was only 15 years ago.
I mean, I'm 29. So how old that was I? What, 13? I don't remember. 14?
Yeah, 13 or 14. Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I don't remember it much, but I do remember showing up, and I do remember just what I was supposed to do. And just like anyone, a little bit of a learning curve, but yeah, it's been fun. I remember my dad telling me about we were gonna go play football. I don't remember leaving that day. I just remember one day showing up and playing, throwing a football. So, but
well, and I think I can probably add a little more context to it from trying to rely on the 13-year-old male brain to remember how it went. But I mean, like I said, with my career, I was gone a lot, right? Like I missed a lot of birthdays, a lot of holidays. And so anytime I could bring the boys, or even, the kids with Carmela, then we would just go together places. Right. And so I imagine it was probably, I'm sure Kaileb was probably there at some point in those early days as well. I'd have to go back and check the tape, but it seemed like a cool family thing to go do. Outside of a couple of weirdos that were hanging out, on the street there, but like mostly it was pretty good. So, and some of those weirdos are still hanging out, by the way.
Adam,
Sure.
2 of them are on the screen right now. So Kaileb, to go to even less reliable memory, do you remember your first tournament? Do you remember getting dragged by your dad and brother over to Willis Park?
I have zero idea. I remember I think my dad had brought up, "Hey, we're gonna go play football," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." I don't really have any sports background. When I was younger, I played t-ball and soccer, and that's about extent. And then he's like, "We're gonna go play football," so I just got in the car and went. Like I just followed. I have zero idea. Like when my first tournament was, when I first threw a ball at the roof. That's all out the window. I got no idea.
It's beautiful. 18 times he's played, but he doesn't remember his first. Kaileb, you're maybe not. I don't think you're the youngest to ever play, but you are on that list for sure. You are one of the youngest. I think we had a 9-year-old as the youngest, but you weren't much older.
Hey, second youngest, I'll take it.
So, Kaileb, you talked a little bit about your sports background. Mike, a little bit. By the way, I'm from Southern Oregon, and Roseburg High. We would always schedule Eagle Point for our homecoming game because it was a guaranteed win. So
it was 100% a guaranteed win. 100%. And well, we did the same with Klamath Union.
There you go. Yeah.
And we used to play them, and Mazama. I don't know if you remember those.
I do remember.
And then Ashland scheduled Roseburg for theirs, but that's a whole separate story.
No, okay. This podcast is stopping, and we're just now going to talk about Southern Oregon football in the late 1990s, early 2000s. So, all right. So Christian, can you tell us a little bit about your sports background?
Yeah, I mean, I did a little bit of football, but I was when I did do it, I was mainly kicking and punting, just like my dad. But I was a big track guy. I did long jump and the relay races. So I didn't really throw the football much, although I mean, just like any kid, you get out throw the football or whatever. But yeah, I didn't have much experience throwing the football, so it was definitely a new thing when we got out there, and so still learning how to do it.
Well, but Christian,
Changes.
your sports pedigree is pretty good though, just in terms of you got a great character witness in terms of Sherwood kickers, right?
That's right. We had a few. We had a guy named Taylor Bonowitz who kicked a game winner who was actually really good at it, but then also more famous, Adley Rutschman. So turned baseball. So yeah, no, we that was cool. He was a year after. I think he might have been Caleb's.
Yeah,
I think
I
he's
think
Caleb.
he was my graduating year.
Yeah, I think he was your graduating year. So
A story that
Oh,
guy. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's
So,
doing okay.
Mike,
He's doing
what
okay.
do you have any? Yeah, he's doing just fine.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have any specific memories about the first time you came out for Roofball?
Yeah, I mean, I what I can remember, like just sort of which seems really clear to me was that my suspicions were correct in terms of I knew I was at the time probably 34 years old. I knew I wasn't a super athletic guy anymore. I'd put on a little bit of pounds, little LBs here and there. Was probably post ACL surgery at that time. Seemed like it was going to be all right. And I had some mild success in my and I think I want to say the very first thing I did was a time trial. That's what
Oh.
seems that's what I seem to remember, and I don't even know if that's accurate or not. But what I did discover was that it was harder than I thought it was going to be. There's definitely a technique to it. It's not just lobbing the ball up. Like there's like, and you've still learned that over time. But
sure.
but it was good, and I remember it was fun, and I did it, and the community was great, and
I do remember the filming. I was a big fan of the giant boom arm that was like in the middle of the street, and it would come down, and it had the camera that would angle down, and that was my favorite one. I don't know
Got that for
what.
free too, by the way.
Oh, for free.
Yeah,
Was that Vancouver or was that?
that was the Vancouver show. Yeah,
Yeah, that was that boom arm was nice.
that was a wild day.
So Kaileb and Christian, your dad finds this, he's interested, he takes it there. You guys play over the course of a few years as a fairly young kids. What was it like being the kids there and everybody else being like a fully grown adult who could be wearing flip-flops and drinking right next to you like Buddy probably was?
Yeah, I mean, if I was 13, Kaileb was probably 9, maybe. I mean, so yeah, I mean, it's between Buddy holding a beer in his koozie and throwing a football wearing flip-flops. I didn't know what to think. I thought it was serious, but then you'd see Buddy throwing in flip-flops holding a Coors Light. I didn't know what to think.
I'm kind of on par with Christian. Like, you just like I was young, so yeah, if he was like I was 9 years old, like I have like there's no idea what's going on. All I know is I'm supposed to throw a ball at a roof and catch it and like hit a pole. That's all I really knew, and like I never really looked around and paid attention. But now going back and watching some of these older YouTube videos, I'm like, what was really going on here? Like like specifically Buddy just having that beer in his hand and throwing the ball at the roof. I'm like, that's impressive.
Yeah, and the craziest thing about that is he tends to play better.
Yes.
A few beers in and flip flops. That's when Buddy's the most dangerous. And I have a theory. I think that's why he gets the rounds, right? He's
Yeah.
not hitting the pole. He's missing consistently in the same spot, and that's why he gets the rounds.
You got the double pole action going on. So he's like, all right.
He's aiming at the left one, and that's the one he's hitting, and that's causing it to kick back to the right. Yeah, I like this theory. I'm just making it up on the spot, but I think that's what it is.
I think that's seriously what it is.
Yeah. All right. Well, Christian, you made the big breakthrough. 2012, you won your first championship. You are still the youngest ever champion. Do you have any memories from that day and that run you made to the 2012 title?
Yeah, I mean, I remember it was you, me, and your sister.
It
And
sure was.
there was a top 3, one for the books. But yeah, I remember Beth and I were down. We were not looking super hot. You were looking great, and
As
then
usual.
yeah, not only in the game, but you look good in general. And then you know, but yeah, I remember that. And then all of a sudden, you know, you got your lead. You started to, you know, I guess get conservative or whatever you were doing. But Beth and I made that comeback, and I'm sorry, you know, 14 years later or whatever it was, what was it? Ain't no way.
12 years later, yeah.
12 years later, maybe it stings or not, I don't know, but yeah, that was
This is getting out of here. It's not gonna air this part.
yeah, but we ended up doing it. I remember that. It was my first time. I think that was, I don't know if I'd ever been in top 3 before at that time. I'm trying to remember. I
don't think so.
I think I went from just not being good to all of a sudden winning
On the scene.
So I was in the scene. So yeah, I don't know. It was good. It was chaotic. It was also the year I graduated high school. So that was
Big year.
that was a big year. Graduated high school and I got my first title, RFA Cup, baby.
Those RFA Cup wins are always pretty good, huh?
I think I have 3 of them or 4, 3, I think.
However many you have, it's
I'm-
that many more than Adam's got.
You're gonna,
Yeah,
you're
I
gonna
don't
make
even-
me look it up, aren't you? Thanks.
I think
this is my favorite part of the day so far.
I'm pretty sure I was kind of
Yeah,
think
you
I
got
made a-
3. You got 3.
Yeah, 3. I made a sign at the last one, and I'm
You sure did.
I did, but you got one though, didn't you? Didn't you end up? No,
No.
well, not to rub it in
Still
anymore,
not.
I guess.
Yeah, just keep on digging. Just
Isn't
keep
it?
on-
Is it 0-14 or 0-15?
well, it's however many there are. That's how many I have. So
It's all I love,
How
baby.
many times did Dale Earnhardt try to win the Daytona 500? Right? Like, it's
so what you're saying, Mike, is eventually I will win, and 3 years
And
later
then you'll
be
die.
killed at the same
Yes.
event.
Yes.
Not the
Good.
same event.
Yeah. I'm
When
gonna
that
get
pipe comes
brained
down
by a
off the
falling
roof, Adam.
shingle the 3 years after I win.
The pole's coming down.
Yeah.
So Kaileb, you said you know kind of the first time you went there, you had no idea what to expect, and other than here's a football and I throw it up there and I get it. As you kept playing as a kid, was there any type of like strategy or anything that you would think about differently, or was it every single time like, here I go, I'm hooking this football up there?
It was pretty much here I go. I'm hooking the ball up there because I was young. The roof is at the time was a lot more. It was giant. Like I felt like I was never getting the ball like close enough to it. And then eventually, I think maybe I hit it once and I was super excited. But I'm like, that's probably the first and last time this is ever going to happen as a kid. And then my at the time was just, can I get the ball even remotely close up on the roof? And at least catching it was big to me.
Well, that's a little foreshadowing for a question we'll have later there, Caleb. You started to find the range a little better later on.
Well,
Mike,
I didn't. Oh, I was just sorry. I was just going to add on to that a little bit. When you talk about strategy, right, in games, as you play more and you learn sort of a little bit of the nuance, and of course, it's been so long since I played, but I distinctly remember it's like, when you're setting up to throw, I mean, you need to pay attention to kind of where you're at in space, right? And one of the things that watching sort of newer players and maybe ones that just haven't had a chance to really get in there is that they're sort of all over. And when you're trying to have a consistent throw, you need to start in the same spot. You need to sort of end in the same spot. And for me, because back in the day, there was quite a bit of a hodgepodge of different balls, right? We had different brands, different sizes. And so you need to just kind of stick with the ball you were using. So there were little things like that I picked up on that, probably somebody might think is kind of dumb, but that's what you have to do, right?
Well, it's significant. And I think it does go to the fact that when you're a kid, it's going to be a little bit harder to figure that kind of stuff out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But Mike, so like we said before, 5-time semifinalist, couple times you came really close to breaking through to the top 3.
Yep.
With the wisdom of years, how do you evaluate your performance as a player?
Well, I think I wish one thing that if I would have been able to keep playing, there's no doubt I would have had some more, I would have had final appearances, and maybe, who knows, maybe even, and took home, something. But there was always the consistent 3 or 4 or 5 at the top. And it was, I'm never gonna, I mean, am I gonna beat Derek? Am I gonna beat you? I mean, probably not. Could I beat my kid? I have gone head to head with my kid, and both of them, I think, and I have beat them both before. But
Mike, I gotta cut you off for a second, because you're getting to one of the funniest lines in Roofball history. I said almost exactly what you said. I said earlier today, Mike beat his son, and Matt
Yes.
Azar cut me off and said, at Roofball, at Roofball.
Yes, exactly. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
I remember it like it was yesterday. But I ended up, like I mentioned, I had an ACL surgery. I had moved on to a job at the fire department. I had got suckered into doing some CrossFit stuff, and I had really hurt my knee. And so I just didn't want a chance, like, getting back out there and going down on camera, number one. Number two, just risking more injury. So I just sort of had to kind of lay off, and I had to kind of just do the adult thing and make sure I could pay bills for my family. So and not that, like, Roofball, here's the thing, it wasn't like a high impact kind of a situation, right? Like, but it would be just my luck. I would hit a crack, or I'd go to do something in the grass and I would slip, and so I just couldn't do it. But if I would have, I would have had me a ship. I'm sure of it.
The chip, baby.
We say chip, Mike, but
Championship.
yes, I don't disagree, but that's not what the kids say.
The chip.
Yes.
It's all about the chip. You
The
got to get the
chip.
chip.
That's just not
C
even right.
apostrophe HIP, I guess.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
makes no sense.
it's a champ hip.
There you go. Yes.
So Kaileb, you played, off and on, but pretty consistently until 2017, and then you were gone. We didn't see Kaileb for a while until back 2022. Obviously, there was a year there with we didn't have any tournaments. For something was going on.
2 years, yeah.
But what was up with the absence there?
I think it was really just life got in the way. I was sort of like, I had gotten into a new relationship, and so I was trying to, like, balance life, working, relationship, and it was just juggling all these things, and I had zero priority at the time. And at the time it was, oh, new relationship, let's just sink all the time into that, and then, oh, I gotta go to work, and then next thing you know, I had no time management. I didn't schedule anything properly, and so I missed a lot of stuff over those years. It wasn't just Roofball, but I think looking back on it, like, I should have just gone and just done it. Like, I kind of regret not playing and taking so much time off to just, I don't know, figure life out. But that's just what happens when you're young. I guess priorities aren't just
Live and you learn.
Yeah, you live and you learn, exactly.
Well, Kaileb, I don't think I think your priorities are probably in a relatively good place. If I can tell you how many
Ow.
relationships Roofball has ruined. I mean, Derek's marriage is hanging on by a thread. I call my wife a Roofball widow. I mean, it's just, so I think you probably made the right call.
So I got a question, Kaileb, your response there. You take a few years off and you come back and you start playing better than ever. You're telling me those 5 years weren't spending solely focused on Roofball?
See, that was the thing. So, like, I don't know when we're gonna jump into that magical game, but I don't know what happened. Like, all I did was work and sleep, and so maybe it was just better sleep schedule. It was like, hey, he can go play Roofball better now that he's
So
sleeping.
Derek, are you suggesting that he was, like, working with Pai Mei and, like, carrying water up the stairs and throwing footballs all the time? And
Yeah. It's like the Rocky goes to Russia or Soviet Union in that movie.
at the very least, I think we need to shoot this. We need to do the montage.
Plowing fields instead of a horse. He's the one out there doing it.
Yeah, we need the montage of Kaileb in the woods throwing footballs at trees and taking birds down in flight and
cars chasing him and spying on him.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Whew, I like this idea. Hard pivot to Christian. A couple of years ago, you win the Worlds, you win the Cup. You are in position to possibly win the Calendar Cow, become the first ever to do that, and finish the Cow, be the third person for that. You get to the 10th inning of the U.S. Open final, and Derek walk-off pings you.
I had the opportunity. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. Were you going to say something?
Well, no, I was going to say, how'd you feel in that moment? What do you remember about that? And not to end it on that bad note, though, like, that was a magical season for you. What do you remember about that whole year?
Yeah, I was definitely playing on a different level. I don't know what I was doing differently necessarily, but I just felt good. I was dialed in, yeah, locked in. I had the chance. All I needed was a ping, and that would have forced, I think, Derek to have to get in a round, if I remember. And I said, I'm just gonna secure it. I don't want him to get a chance because I know if anyone's, it's Buddy or Derek that's gonna pull it off. Those are, with respect, right? Those are the two people that I was facing Derek. I'm like, okay, he's gonna get around. So I decided to just for some weird reason, I was happy. I was cocky, I think, a little bit, and I tried to go for the around to make it sealed up that he would have to get an around with the multiplier and secure the catch in order to beat me. So I said, I'm gonna try to lock it away, and I got too cocky, and it's like, yeah, it's like when you intercept the ball or someone catches a catch in football and you're running, they let the ball go right before the end zone. That's kind of like what I imagine how this happened is I let the ball go right before the end zone. I had it, and I just I thought I'm the best, which is not a bad mindset to have, but that was what I did. I'm the best. This is it. I'm about to complete something that's never been done, and just the best. It got the best of me. And congrats to Derek for winning that one. He clutched it up and came back. So
I think that's the proverbial snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
ain't that right?
I liked it. I mean, it worked out well. I do remember it. As soon as I let go of the ball, I knew it was hitting it. So that was a good feeling.
Well, that was the second time you did a walk-off ping on Christian to win a title too. So it wasn't even new for him. Christian, that's the biggest reason I can see why you were saying I got to absolutely secure this, because you'd already been a victim of his once.
Yeah, it wasn't an uncommon thing. So it was like, right, you think just get the ping and then force him to get the round, but he would do it. It could be a ping, it could be an around, it could have been the around multiplier. I mean, it's all there. He's done it. He will continue to do it. And so I just figured, let's give myself the best opportunity, which I thought was that. Maybe hindsight, I should have just went for the ping. Every throw is different. I mean, there's more pressure knowing that maybe you have to get some, but when you're playing Derek, it doesn't really matter, honestly. So it's all on the table. It's all on the table.
What really is, it's almost like Tiger in his prime, right? Like he made people play worse because everyone thought, well, if I don't eagle this hole, he's gonna birdie. So I got to do something magical. And that led to mistakes. So
that's right.
But still, man, hey, again, not to end that on a bad note, you won 2 out of 3 and you finished second by 1 throw in the last one. It's still, I think, probably, it's if it's not the greatest year a Roofball player ever had, it's right there with Derek's 2 championships in a year.
Yeah.
So it's a heck of a 2022 for you.
No, it was great. And I'm hoping to get back into it. But with all this young blood coming in this new game, I mean, it's getting tougher. The competition is not what it used to be. And that's for sure. So.
Isn't that what we used to say about you? I don't.
It is what we said about Kaileb, or what we said about Christian, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, well, we're all screwed now.
Yeah.
And I was right.
So, Kaileb, you alluded to it a little bit. I talked about a second place finish. So basically, last year, 2023 RFA Cup, you weren't even supposed to play. Going back to another Clerks reference, you're not even supposed to be here today. So you show up. A few people didn't make it. Looked around, Adam said, "Hey, Kaileb, you want to play today?" And you probably said, "Yeah, sure."
That's exactly how it went.
Then, you went on to a second place finish, and with a lot of good stories along the way. Can you walk us through that day?
So yeah, I think I showed up early. I think Christian might have been in town or was coming in. I don't remember. He was out doing something. Maybe I had to give him a ride. I don't remember. And then I showed up early, and everything's getting set up, and Adam comes over and he goes, "I think a couple of people aren't going to show up. You want to play?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Like, I haven't played since before 2017. I'm like, this is a long time ago. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so we start going, and then I start playing, and I'm doing better than I have ever done. Like, it's just sort of like this new breath of fresh air coming up, and then all of a sudden, here I am winning, and I'm like, this is not new. Like, I don't know what to do. Christian's telling me on the sideline, "Hey, you need to throw the ball better this way." Like, I'm getting fed all this information. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And then next thing you know, I'm just advancing. And then next thing you know, I'm in the final. And I'm like, how did I get here? Like I had no idea what was going on, and it was wild. Like I had so much fun that day, and I just it's sort of like not a blur, but there's just so much going on that I took it in. I'm like, wow, I had a lot of fun that day.
Well, two things in relation to my co-host. You were wearing the Derek Weber T-shirt, the homage T-shirt that day, and in the second round of that tournament, you threw in a round to both clinch yourself the win in that game
Yeah.
and to beat Derek in that game.
He's going for it.
And he is
got it!
Kaileb wins!
Bringing the catch.
Kaileb Verkest with the around and a clutch moment to beat Derek Weber.
Unbelievable.
So what was that particular moment like for you?
That moment, like everyone was saying, like, you know, if you get the around, you win. You know, if you don't get the around, but you pin catch, it's a solid wild card. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm hearing all this, and I'm like, all right. And I walk up, and it's like slow motion, and then all of a sudden, it's like when you see like equations showing up everywhere. You're like all this stuff, and I'm like, I'll just go up, and I just threw the ball, and next thing you know, the world slowed down, and the ball's just flying, and I'm like, this is it. I think it's happening, and the ball hits and bounces, goes around, and then it's like you're in a stadium, you hear everyone cheering, clapping, and I'm like, oh, I gotta catch the ball, and then I turn around and I'm like, ran straight towards Derek. I was like, this is it. But yeah, that was an exciting moment.
Well, it was. I want to add that what I was watching from Texas on YouTube, and I'm telling you, it was just like the Leo DiCaprio gif. Right when he's sitting on the couch, he sits up and he.
Hey.
Yeah,
Who's my kid?
Yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an extremely fun moment, and that tournament was a lot of fun. But one question on what you said there: do you guys all see equations in the air?
Never.
They see memes, I think.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I think there's a minor detail in this story that we're forgetting, and maybe I'm crazy, but I thought Kaileb was there to like help with tech stuff.
Yeah,
wasn't
he was
even,
there to
like-
run the scorebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
he was
score,
doing
yeah.
the score, so
That's
he
what it was.
Yeah, so and then jumps in and.
Well, let's
solid
also
day.
not forget that Kaileb also hurt his knee on the second to last throw or something
Oh
like that.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Of the tournament, that's right.
He
yeah.
he hyperextended his knee trying to do a catch. Yeah, it's not something my dad wants to hear, but
Mm-mm.
bro's knee bent the opposite direction. So
Yeah, I saw it, and it's terrifying. I have massive PTSD from my ACL injury, and so I can't even listen or hear about it. But I thought that was it. Well, and Kaileb, don't take this the wrong way, but Mr. sort of like non-athletic shows up in his beat to hell Vans, right? He doesn't even have athletic shoes, and he's out there like, I mean, like people playing flip-flops, so I guess it ain't that big of a deal, but it's just one more like, thing,
anyone can do it.
Yep.
That's right.
I-
Going forward, I'll be wearing Nikes strictly.
No.
Hashtag
Did
not
you
an
get a
ad.
deal that I
Yeah.
don't know about.
Not an ad.
Well, it's just
So
like
Kaileb-
anyone. I mean, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go for it, Christian.
No, it's just like Dale wearing his mountain hiking boots. I mean,
Yes.
you could wear mountain hiking boots, Vans, flip flops, or hashtag not an ad Nikes,
Yeah.
and you can win. There's not a specific shoe.
It's a
We had
great
a
call,
guy in a
Christian. What we
one-wheel
need,
win,
and it's
so.
amazing being in Portland that this hadn't happened. We need like a super crunchy granola type to come out and play barefoot
Yeah.
and just really prove that footwear does not matter at all.
I
Or
feel
ski
There
like
boots or
has to
something
be
weird.
somebody who's played barefoot.
I
at
feel
some
like
point.
if it would have happened, I feel like it would have been with the Keep Portland Weird, or what was that?
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
if-
we had a guy
if-
on a hoverboard. That's pretty close.
that's right. So I
Hoverboard
feel
and
like
a unicycle.
so if it would have happened, I feel like it would have been in that.
Well, there's going to be another version of it this year, so maybe we'll have it at year 2.
Oh, great.
So Kaileb, I didn't want to get sidetracked there. So not supposed to playing well, all new stuff. You make the championship. What going into those last 10 throws? What was feelings? Was there a strategy? Were you just lost in the moment?
I don't think there was a strategy for that whole day, considering I wasn't supposed to play. I woke up, I had my morning coffee, and then next thing you know, I'm playing Roofball. I hadn't eaten all day. So I was like, at some point, I'm going to get knocked out. Like, that was the mentality. Like, at some point, I'm going to be able to go eat something, because the food
You
cart
were
we had
wrong,
there.
sir.
Yeah, and so here I am. I'm like, All right, I'm in the final. I'm like looking at it. My heart is racing. I'm just pounding back water. My blood sugar, I'm like shaking because I haven't eaten. I'm like, I got to play this final game. And then, like, that whole time, I was like, the minute the last throw went up and I knew it wasn't going to win, I was like, I can eat now. But that was my whole strategy all day was maybe if you just don't eat the minute you wake up, you just have your morning coffee and go play roofball, you're set. You're going to make it to the finals. And after that, it was all we had a good dinner, and I was like, I feel so much better now. But it was
Well,
fun.
But Kaileb, speaking of that last throw, you went into the bottom of the 10th and you were down, I think it was 8 or 9 points. And so you're saying that you just tweaked your knee, but you know, in that moment, you getting around, you're winning the tournament. Do you remember that particular moment? Do you remember what you were trying to do with the ball, if anything?
I was sort of that similar moment, was kind of walking up to it, hoping that I would see, like, the equations show up and I would be like, be able to plan this back out. And I threw the ball, and it was an awkward throw. I let go of it, I think, way too early, and there was more height. I what didn't throw it as hard, and it was a poor throw. But in that moment, I was like, oh, I just got a round win earlier. Let's just do it again and just win the whole
Just
thing.
do the
And
same thing again.
that's
Yeah.
going to be my highlight career moment, like, for the rest of my life, is this moment right here. And I walked up and choked.
Well, I think that's wrong. You had now,
That was it. I choked.
I walked up and I choked.
Kaileb, as someone who's dealing with the fact that my most recent throw, I needed a ping to make the final 3 of the US Open and I didn't get it. I will tell you that people following the Kaileb Verkest story, that is not what they remember from 2023. They remember you're around to beat Derek. They remember your run. You'd never made it past the second round. You made it all the way to the second place. And then at the Oregon Regional, you had a walk-off around in that too that made Derek go nuts because he was wearing your jersey that day.
Yeah.
And,
Right,
and you
that's
finished
right.
in a semifinal in that too. So you had a calendar year. Believe me, I definitely feel you, because Derek, I know, feels the same way. Whatever your last loss is the thing that sticks with you the most. But that's not what people are remembering from
That's right.
2023, Kaileb. And
Yeah.
I'll bet I'm all but certain that's not what your dad remembers. And we'll switch it back to Mike. So Mike, it's been a while since you were at a tournament, but you're kind of unique in that I think that you were maybe our most dedicated viewer in 2023. So what was it like sitting at your place in Texas watching your kids play?
Yeah, I mean, it's always good, right? Like, I mean, Roofball has been a part of most of my adult life, right? Like, I mean, it's just kind of crazy to say that, but um, and so one, I would always be a supporter whether they were there or not, but to see them sort of continue on, and I think it says a lot about you guys, right? To be honest with you, because as a dad, you don't you want good stuff for your kids. You want them to be safe. You want them to be successful. You want them to go and have fun. And I think the Roofball gives them that space to do that. And so there's nothing more that I love than to just sit here and pull it up on the TV and get in the chat. And some people recognize my name and they see Christian Verkest or Kaileb and they say, oh, you must be the dad. Okay, right? Because a lot of new viewers, obviously, in the last 12 to 14 months, whatever it's been, and so it's been cool. I love watching them. I love seeing the success that they have. I love watching the camaraderie with all the other players, and it's just it's just great.
So Mike, I mean, you said 12, 18 months, whatever it's been. So 53 weeks, Adam, is that pretty
Yeah,
good?
53 weeks today. Yeah.
Since,
Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
since
Post. Yeah.
since it started its wild popularity growth. I mean, sitting kind of on the outside, like, what have you thought about that? I mean, you caught it in 2008, where it was still on public access. That's you and I played the exact same. Our first tournament started the same one. So I have an idea on what all this means and stuff. Adam obviously has been extremely involved, but what's it mean to you? Somebody that's been there, for the last 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's one, I feel like it's long overdue. We had always just sort of joked around that it was like the next, ESPN 8 sport or whatever it was going to be. And
The Ocho.
and yeah, the Ocho, and it's something that everybody could do. And so long overdue. And it's just funny how, for the most random reasons, some guy decides to, stumbles across the, an old video and decides to post it. And the next thing you know, everything's going crazy. So long overdue, two, well-deserved, makes me happy just as I think I'm a pretty good human being to see Adam sort of get this lifelong. I mean, it's always been this lifelong thing with Adam. and to sort of finally kind of get the credit, if you will, of this, what probably started off as just this time killer, something to go do, and has lasted his whole entire life. To see that out there, I mean, it makes me super proud that I was sort of had a little piece of that, and it was really cool. And so I tried to figure out what could I do to sort of, stay engaged in it from afar. And obviously it's great to see the boys still out there doing it. And, my daughter Carmela, she tried once or twice, but it's not really her speed of things. But, just to see the success and and then all the Barstool stuff. And the next thing you know, there's ads and there's sponsors and we're going across the country and we're, it's just unbelievable. So I just hope that will keep going. And, Roofball will spread to the people across the land some more.
So Christian, kind of a similar question, over the last 15-ish years or so, like I said, you played in 31 tournaments, which Adam, correct me if I'm wrong, that's got to be the third or maybe fourth most during that time frame.
During that time frame for sure, yeah.
Yeah. Like what, and you've traveled, you've made trips, when you were living in Texas and Vegas and stuff to come back just to play. I mean, any thoughts on the again, increase in popularity that the game has seen?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't missed a tournament in quite some time, and I'm still dedicated to it, and I have been, and just seeing the popularity that it's gained and the traction that from a Reddit post to where we are today is pretty huge, and it doesn't it never changed my mindset of what I was doing or anything like that, but it does make me happy for Adam and for everyone involved with Roofball and his whole family that have dedicated 20 some plus years to throwing a ball at the same roof, and then a couple of others here and there, right? And now we're expanding to, what was it, Ohio, I think, and just San Diego, like getting into California, like it's just cool. It's cool to see, and I'm been very, very proud to be a part of it. And I'll never forget when Adam, I think, included me on a group text one day about how like we're like this group of like the people who are, who have been around the longest and still here and dedicated to it. Kind of just hit me a little bit differently because like, wow, yeah, I guess I've been playing this for half my life. Like it's literally been half of my life has been three times a year to doing this. So 3 times a year. So yeah, it's been fun and it's been great. And I'm happy for everyone involved, specifically for Adam and his family. So.
Well, I think it goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyway. First of all, I described you as one of the royal families of Roofball, and that is absolutely true. Your guys, your dedication, your excitement coming in, your abilities on the court, but more than that, just your friendship and your willingness to help out and your interest in it has made all the difference. And speaking of the dedication, I know all 3 of you have tattoos. So I'm assuming that each of you will eventually get a Roofball tattoo. And I'm just wondering, what will that tattoo be and where are you going to get it?
I'm totally down, just for the record.
Yeah, I'm 100% in. I've been on this little tattoo splurge recently, so I'm assuming something will come up. If I get something, it's definitely gonna be somewhere visible. So when I'm releasing the ball, maybe it's visible on the camera, and it's gonna
Back
say
of the hand.
Yeah, yeah, a little hand tattoo. Yeah,
I'm still the dad here. That will not happen.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm looking at it and I just don't physically see that looking good.
I'm thinking something like a podium, right? Like, I mean, that might be kind of cool. Something with, I don't know. Like, I don't know how detailed we could or want to be, but I don't know. I mean,
Derek's got a T-shirt with essentially his own logo. And then every time he gets a championship, he adds a little trophy around it. Maybe you could put a central thing and then room to add championships.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe like a wreath, of some kind. With who knows?
Caleb, how about you?
How about there's 3 of you, just a big RFA on each of your chests.
Oh, that's great.
Just right across the chest.
Maybe on the neck.
Tattoo idea. I don't know. That's good. Like, there's so many. I think I talked to Christian one time about it, and it's funny that you mentioned it. Like, I thought about just getting, like, I have the giant sticker of, like, the red and blue block with the post on it. I'm like, how funny it would be just to get that tattooed, like the OG logo, like just throw that up. And but then I'm like, there's got to be something else to it. Like, the championship, like the wreath idea, the podium. Like, there's so many different ideas you could get, and there's never not a bad time to get a tattoo. And you can get a tattoo of anything you want. And I think RFA will be my next tattoo.
Same.
Well, I'll tell you
say-
guys, I'm going to make a really stupid declaration, which is that you guys let me know when you're getting your Roofball tattoo. I guess that's when I got to get mine.
That's right.
Let's
All right,
plan
let's
it.
do it.
Yep,
Let's
same
plan it.
here. As soon as if Verkests are doing it,
All right.
consider me an honorary family member. I'll join up.
All right, let's do it.
It's currently almost 7 p.m. my time on Saturday, February 10th. I will do it in the next 30 minutes.
I don't think I can beat you to that then.
We'll all go together. We'll
Yeah,
all go
there you
together
go.
and go get
Let's
it
do
done.
it. Well, we
Right.
can go to my tattoo artist. I'm sure she has
There you go.
openings, and we can get it all done at one time.
Well,
Perfect.
that kind of leads into Derek's next question.
Oh well, so we talked about it at the beginning where you guys are and stuff. Kaileb, thank you for staying with us. We appreciate that. Mike being in Texas, Christian in Vegas. When are we going to see Texas or Vegas or both regional?
It's a good question. I'll tell you, if you haven't been here, I will tell you that every house here is exactly the same, and zero of them that I have seen would ever be conducive to Roofball. Like, it's just, I don't know. It's like the same two builders that have built all these houses around Austin. I just don't see it. So if I will keep my eye out, though, believe me, I always do. It's always in the back of my mind.
I hear there's plenty of land in Texas.
Oh, there's plenty of land. Yeah.
We can just build one then.
That's right.
We
I
got to
always
get
thought
to
we
it
should have
before
the portable.
Amazon or Tesla.
I always thought we should have the portable roof that we could just, I mean, you wouldn't be able to ship it, obviously, but like we could put it on a trailer. I don't know. We
Yeah.
could do it.
Possible. Vegas, I don't know about Vegas. I mean, we could throw it at my apartment complex, I suppose. We could figure out something. I figure we can figure something.
Well, I hear a lot from the Southwest people, the folks in Arizona and in Nevada, that the biggest issue is you got those tile roofs
Yeah, it's the
that
tile.
are not going to be happy if they get hit by football. So
Tile
work
roofs.
around that. We'll have to make Roofball specific tiles or something. That's like year 4 though. We'll work on that later.
You know,
So
Adam,
guys, I wanted to get, and we'll go the opposite way. We'll start with Kaileb and work our way up in age. Favorite single memory in Roofball. If you can put your finger on one specific moment, what would that be?
Beating Derek while wearing his jersey.
Yeah. A homemade jersey.
Yeah, homemade Walmart jersey. The night before.
The night before, literally 12 hours before the first throw.
Christian, how about you?
It would be winning my first championship, the RFA Cup in 2012 against the top 3 and then beating Beth in the final championship game. So yeah, it was that's it. I mean, that was my first championship and 4 more came after.
All been downhill since then.
That's right. Back pains and knee pains, baby.
I think for me, since I don't have any finals appearance, I don't have any amazing stories like the rest of you suckers do, but I do have something that none of my boys have. And that is, I have had action on the Volvo.
Ooh. Yeah, the
Interesting phrasing.
Volvo.
Yeah, the way you put that, Pops.
I'm just telling you.
it was late at night once, and there was no tournament.
Yeah,
There was going, how old is Carmelo?
The neighbors thought I was a little bit weird. No, but yeah, I mean, right? Like that was everyone. I mean, that's the comments I remember from when, we're going on YouTube and the Reddit is like, where's the car? Why isn't the car there? Well, obviously the car hadn't been there in a long time, but
you got action in.
I have been up against that car trying to catch a ball before. So I got something that the boys don't.
I got action with the Volvo.
Up against it, yeah.
Quote it.
We just earned our explicit rating for this episode.
That's right.
I'm just thinking he fell on the car. What are you guys thinking? That's what I'm thinking.
I remember he jumped over the entire car. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good day. That was a good jump. Yeah.
Like Blake Griffin in the
4-foot
slam
vertical
dunk.
jump.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. So before we wrap up here, I would love to share my favorite Roofball moment with each of you. So Kaileb, it's the same thing. You beating me and not the beating. I still got a wild card, everybody. I move on. But Kaileb, you're winning that, and the sheer joy and excitement, not only from you, I was super pumped. I think you ran to like chest bump Christian or something, and I wedged myself in between there. Or something like that.
It's the happiest anyone's
amazing
ever
amount of
been
fun.
to be
Really
walk
enjoyed
off. Far and away the happiest anyone's ever been.
that.
That's right.
Christian, with you, it's a completely different memory. Although you and I have had some fun celebrations in our time
Yeah.
with each other, but it was either that first tournament, it was maybe your first tournament. So I don't know, if it was the 08 Open or maybe the 09 Worlds or something like that. And I think it was second round, and you had moved on. And I remember your cockiness level as a young teenager was up here. And I think in a warm up, so like we were playing each other in the second round in the warm ups, you said something, and my happy go lucky demeanor was like, "Oh, okay, you little, you're going down here," and I don't know what I beat you by, but it wasn't close.
Wasn't close.
Don't poke the bear, young Christian. Don't do it.
That's right. I poked the bear for sure on that one.
And then Mike, with you, it's actually not Roofball. It's me just always rewatching those old Oregon Duck. I don't know, it was Northwest Sports or Adam Root Sports ads.
Comcast Sportsnet. Yeah.
Comcast Sportsnet, Derek. Show some respect. Root, come on.
Work there anymore. So does it even exist? No. So, so Mike, when I think about watching you on tape, that's what I think about, and it just brings joy to my heart every time.
I will tell you, like that was a sort of another amazing piece of my life that came from Roofball, right? Like I got to be in 3 commercials with my team, right? And God, old Strings, what's he up to it nowadays? He is a great producer, brother. Video.
He's still doing it. He's as good, if not better than ever. He's very talented.
But we had, I mean, the famous one where we're picking up the hitchhiker, right? Which I share that every year, both the Washington one
And the Oregon State.
Whatever. And then, of course the Beavs. Yeah. Anyway, like that was a big deal, and people still get joy out of that. And I'm so proud to have had the opportunity to do that. And I wouldn't have ever had a chance if it wouldn't have been for Roofball. So it was awesome.
I really appreciate everybody's time tonight. Thanks for joining in.
Likewise.
Across the western half of the United States of America.
That's right.
I appreciate it. For Adam Willis, I'm Derek Weber, and we'll be chatting with you soon.